Jake the Film Guy, Microbudgeter.com. In this video, we're going to talk about why you should consider an online business bank. Now, let's qualify this first. If you're a video producer, whether you have a side hustle part-time or full-time, at some point you're going to have to put the cash somewhere besides the old mattress. Let's face it, it's not a really good place to keep your dough. You probably have thought about the credit union approach, and that's what I'm going to compare and contrast here. Most banks will not offer a business checking account option. For example, USAA, while they do really well with the veteran community, they don't offer business checking accounts. The big boys probably do, but do you really want to bank with the big boys? Credit unions are fantastic because of their customer service. Here's an excellent illustration. Back in Vegas, I told this vendor I did not want to be paid with cash, especially in a town like Vegas where there are some unscrupulous types. This person forgot, and at the end of the 12-hour shoot, paid me in cash. To make matters even more complicated, cash looked really old, it looked really dated, it looked like it was from way back when. The hairs on my neck stood up. I went to the bank and I told them as humbly and as honestly as I could, I promise I'm not trying to defraud you guys. I know this cash has been out of circulation for a while now. Is there any way you can discern if this is legitimate tender? And with an attitude of gratitude, the clerk had mercy on me, pulled out their magic marker. Everything was golden. They said that their policy is to take that kind of cash out of circulation because it does look like funny money at this point. Nonetheless, you are liable if you try to deposit, exchange cash that is fraudulent. There is that potential. So you have to be very wise in this matter, and that's why I highly recommend, and I will always say this, that you do electronic payments for everything. But if you do get cash, this is where the benefit of a credit union really shines. Credit union will allow you to process cash, just like a normal bank. And they do treat their people pretty nice, pretty well. Pardon my bad English. Credit union in your town probably has a regional presence, so there's that going for you. But that's also the downside of having the credit union. Let's say you got to move a time zone, 2 time zones, and start over somewhere else. I've had so many address changes since I left home at 18. I think it's like 15, 16, 17, 18 at this point. I can't keep track of them. The fact of the matter is, mobility, it's reduced when you go with the credit union. They may not have a national presence. That's why you want to consider an online business checking account with a purely online bank, like Aslo, for example. I'll mention them. There are several others. I recommend you do your homework. Don't just do something because I say to do it. Be like the Bereans in the scriptures. In the book of Acts, it talks about Paul talking about the scriptures, proving that Jesus is the Messiah. And these guys, they go and they don't just take him at face value. They go back and they do their homework. And that's what I want you to do. Just because I say Aslo, I don't want you to think that this is the golden goose. I want you to go and do the comparing and contrasting for yourself. For the sake of this video, I simply wanted to illustrate that you have to think about this 2-pronged approach. Do you want to go with the well, really 3-pronged approach? Do you want to go with the traditional bank? Do you want to go with the credit union? Or do you want to go with a purely online bank? And at this third step here, the online bank, I use Aslo. It's very simple, very easy to work with them, and they integrate with popular apps like Quickbooks, like Stripe, like PayPal. So you have all of your business resources under one umbrella, and it's really easy to set up. If you are doing the DBA, if you're doing the sole proprietorship or even LLC, they make it pretty painless to launch that business checking account, and they don't have a lot of things in the ways of fees or minimums. It's very, very user-friendly, very pro-startup friendly. I use and recommend them, but that doesn't mean that you should. You should go and see if even the purely online bank is good for you, because the big downside is if you want to operate with good old-fashioned cash, you don't have that option with these online banks in most instances. But they do give you a credit card-backed debit card that you can use at many different ATMs across the nation, just like a lot of other bells and whistles that you might expect from a checking account. So do the homework, figure out what's best for you, and comment below. Who are you going to go with? A bank, a credit union, or a purely online bank as you launch your video production business and get a business checking account set up? I wish you the best of success. Keep creating with the King of Kings. Use this tool for good. We live in dark times where film and video are used for exploitative things, horrible things. Pray for the kids that are being trafficked. We need to pray for that evil sin to be abolished, and use these tools constructively. Partner with the King to bring light in the darkness. Hey, if you suffered this long and you want some bonus tips, I got a few more for you. You ready for these bonus tips? Here you go. Bonus tip number 1, PayPal credit. You can have one PayPal credit associated with you, John Q. Public. Go ahead and get that established. Now, I never recommend using debt. I don't recommend it. However, sometimes you will find yourself between a rock and a hard place, and you have to make a judgment call. Given the information and the resources available, sometimes you might have to leverage a little bit of credit. PayPal credit is used in many different places, and they have special financing options, such as monthly installments for a year, 2 years, or pay everything in 6 months with no interest during that time if you get the whole enchilada taken care of during that time. A lot of other guys are offering competing offers like this, but because PayPal credit does reflect on your credit score and vice versa, it might be a nifty addition to have in your business toolkit. I always recommend the cash and carry approach. I don't recommend leveraging debt when you are bootstrapping a video production business. It's different for Coca-Cola or any of the other big S&P 500 companies to go and leverage billions of dollars of debt. Netflix is a prime example to grow their companies. But as Mark Cuban said, you can always bank on the bank collecting their fair share, no matter how well or how poorly your business is doing. So keep that in mind. Pro tip number 2. Got your PayPal credit set up? That's fantastic. Go ahead and get Stripe. I mentioned it earlier as one of the integrations built into Aslo. Stripe will set you up. As long as you have that business checking account, you can get Stripe so that you can accept online payments and point of sale in-person purchases. Let's say for whatever reason you're doing a wedding, the client has not done the second half of the payment that is owed, but with Stripe, you can get a free, I've been saying Stripe this whole time. Well, scratch that bonus tip. I meant Square. With Square, you can get a free card reader so that you can accept that in-person point of sale purchase. That transaction can be made possible via the good old 3.5mm phone jack or the lightning bolt port, whatever the heck Apple calls it these days. They have a reader for either of those systems so that you can accept a credit card right then and there. Nifty tool, and it's absolutely free when you sign up with Square. These aren't affiliate leaks I'm gonna be preaching at you. These are just things, free tools that you can get right now as you are launching your video production business. So get on board with it. Go ahead and get set up with Stripe too. Stripe and Square. I get them confused. I'm conflating the two. I do apologize. You might as well get all three: PayPal credit, Stripe, and Square.